So the Chicago Bears just brought in reinforcements for this game in the desert against the Arizona Cardinals, and it's just in time. And I don't have to tell you this. The Chicago Bears offensive line, it's in need of help, right? For this game on Sunday, they are in need of help, and there's some good news. Reinforcements have been brought in. I was going to say the cavalry's here, but lineman Ryan Bates, he's not being activated quite yet. He's still practicing on a limited basis after the Bears opened up his window from IR. So let's just talk about who's going to be here. And Courtney Cronin just posted the following via Twitter. The Bears activated Larry Borum off injured reserve. He's been working at left tackle all week with Braxton Jones and Karan Amagaje out for the Cardinals game. Offensive lineman Jake Curhan and cornerback Reddy Stewart, they were elevated from the practice squad. Now, I'm going to talk about each of these players and why I think they're all significant moves in just a moment. But on top of this, let's talk about Tevin Jenkins. He's still listed as questionable. All signs are pointing toward him being able to go. And now the official and final injury designations, those are going to be posted 90 minutes before kickoff. But Coach Flus, he had this to say at least after Friday's practice. Tevin Jenkins was good today. He participated in most of the practice. He looks good out there, feels good, so we're hopeful here. So let's kind of pivot a little bit here. So how good or bad is this Chicago Bears offensive line so far? And I'm going to go to this article on PFF. It's just a really good it just provides some really good insight into the offensive lines heading into week 9. And Zoltan Boudet of PFF, I hope I pronounced that correctly, he ranked the Bears offensive line 20th out of 32 teams in the league. And that's not absolutely fantastic, but I'm just going to quote directly from it. Left tackle Braxton Jones and left guard Tevin Jenkins, they left week 8's game with injuries. They were replaced by Karan Amagaje and Doug Kramer after backup Bill Murray also got injured, respectively, and they earned the 2 lowest overall grades on the Chicago offensive line. Prior to this injury, though, Jenkins, he earned a 90.5 PFF overall grade on 46 snaps to lead all guards in week 8. And Tevin Jenkins has just put in solid work. He just keeps getting dinged up. There's kind of a question here, too. Does this mean that Nate Davis is activated for this game? I mean, isn't this exactly the case of having him on our roster, like in case of fire, break glass? Is that what we're looking at? So far, it doesn't look like it. This may be because of, I'd say because of one of two things. His number one is work ethic, his attitude. It might be to the point that the staff just doesn't want him playing on game day moving forward. They don't even want him influencing the team. A guy who got paid $30 million and decided to just skate. Or number two, the Bears are working hard to trade him before the deadline, and they don't want to risk injury on top of the rest being true that I just mentioned. That's still true. But the Bears have definitely been shopping Nate Davis. And recently, word is out from reliable sources that they're willing to cover $8 million of his salary this year to facilitate a deal. So that's significant. And I don't know the reason, but let's also look at Jake Curhan. He just got activated as well. And also Larry Borum. So let's talk about Larry Borum. He's 25 years old. He has appeared in 39 games for the Bears over his previous 3 years with the team, earning 23 starts along the way. Hasn't played at all in 2024 due to an ankle injury, but he's ready to go. And he was a 5th-round pick back in 2021 from Ryan Pace's final draft class. I think the only player still with us from that draft class is maybe Cole Kmet. I think I'm right there. During his time here, once again, he has started in 23 of the 39 games he has played in. Experienced lineman. He's been here as a starter or a swing for quite a while, and that's a really good thing. Coming out of Mizzou, he began the 2024 season on injured reserve, hurt his ankle on that last preseason game against the Kansas City Chiefs. We just got a guy who's versatile. That's a theme on this roster. That's a good thing. Borum has playing experience at both tackle spots and both guard positions. So just a really good guy to be available and ready to go. He's going to draw the start at left tackle. Braxton Jones is out And as you know, he got hurt versus Washington. There's not anyone to drop in a corresponding move with Larry Borum being moved up to the 53. He's taken the roster spot. I can't talk. Vacated by Bill Murray. He was sent to the IR following last week's game. So let's move on. Who is Jake Curran? He was brought in during the offseason. He didn't quite make the 53. He's been on the practice squad ever since. But a couple significant things. One, he's experienced and versatile once again. He has 29 games of playing experience, 9 starts under his belt. And most of that experience, it's been with offensive coordinator Shane Waldron. And this was during his time with the Seattle Seahawks. 2 very good things. Familiarity with the offense, very valuable if he's called upon to fill a role in the desert. More will be known just before game time. Curran's playing time will likely correspond with the availability of Jenkins, but so far, all signals are pointing towards Jenkins suiting up, and we need him. Now I want to talk about, and this was my main reason for posting this, one of the most popular players of the offseason, especially if you're watching this channel, and that's Reddy Stewart. This is a dude that just has a nose for turnovers. Head coach Matt Eberflus, he talked about him a lot in the offseason. He called him a ball hawk, and he was a factor not only in camp, but in preseason action as well. He had a 2-interception game against the Chiefs in the preseason finale, and he also ran one of them in for a touchdown. And so Reddy being brought up, that's probably the final sign that corner Kyler Gordon is not going to play after limited practices. Spider-Man is still listed as questionable. Regardless, I absolutely love that this guy's been called up. And I don't know how much time he's going to get on the field, but the Bears, they needed another defensive back. And per NFL rule, I'll just share this with you, a practice squad player, he can only be called up to a game 3 times before he has to be formally added to the 53. And if the player's brought on to the 53, that means someone has to be dropped in a corresponding move. The Bears aren't going to do that. Reddy was the choice. I just really like this player once again. The guy is gritty, and I'd absolutely love to see this guy make an impact. And then kind of to move over to Arizona, they made one final move before game day, and that's they elevated defensive lineman Ben Steele from the practice squad to the active roster. And he's played a total of 5 games this season. 3 came with the Tampa Bay Bucks after they signed him off of Arizona's practice squad earlier in the season. So Steele, he's played in the last 2 games for Arizona. He deflected a pass, he recorded a sack, and he's a rotational piece. And the Cardinals' defensive line, it is banged up. And even without the recent injuries, the Cardinals are the 7th worst at rushing the passer. So if we had a game that the Bears' offensive line was going to be dinged up, this is probably the game to have it happen. So he's going to join the defensive line. The defensive line is without Justin Jones. He might sound familiar. Bilal Nichols, he might sound familiar as well. And Darius Robinson. And we're looking at the Cardinals coming into this game, winning back-to-back close games. And here's what their head coach, Jonathan Gannon, had to say about the Bears. Good football team coming in here. Offensively, the quarterback can make magic. He's a really good player that can beat you with his arms and with his legs. They got really good skill guys in a good scheme. Defensively, it sounds a little different what he has to say, because this is what he had to say about the defense. Defensively, I think they're one of the best defenses we are going to play, truthfully. They play extremely hard. They're very sound. They tackle. They pressure the quarterback. They can cover and impact players on all 3 levels. They've got continuity on that side of the ball. He's, without saying it, he's recognizing that our offense has been in a little bit of flux. So they play with accelerated vision, as I would say. They take the ball away. We've got our work cut out for us here. It's going to be a big-time challenge. So I just wanted to give you an update on here. I'm not going to be here right before the game. I filmed this earlier this morning, but official inactives for both the Cardinals and the Bears. It's going to be released 90 minutes ahead of game time on Sunday, and then you will know absolutely for sure with some of these questionable tags, because Montez Sweat looks like he's ready to go. Tevin Jenkins looks like he's ready to go. And then I've gone through the necessary inactives. So you guys, This is an absolute must-win game. I think we're fully equipped to do so. We just need a little bit of get up with the offense to start out the game. Let's start out strong from the first quarter through. Let's do some takeaways from the defense. We're going to need it. And our hope is that we come into the desert away and leave with a win. And I think it's going to happen. You guys, if we can win these next two games, we are 6-3. All is forgiven after we go into the second half of the season, this gauntlet. I think these next two games are really going to be the judge of whether we're actually a playoff team. Because if we can't come into that gauntlet with 6 wins, might as well start looking toward next year, in my opinion. I think these next two games are absolute must wins. You guys let me know what you think. Bear down. And hey, let's get after Arizona. See ya.